both Soumya Narayanan and Preeti Prabhakaran.
Okay. Now you got it?
I'm just checking, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You got it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I got it.
Soumya, have you got screen sharing?
Yes, Beulah, thank you so much.
Okay. Shall we start, Soumya?
Yes, please go ahead.
Ma'am, Suganti ma'am, shall we start?
Okay.
Okay. Preeti, start.
Yes. Good morning. I welcome you all to the Day 2 session for the National Webinar on Impact of COVID-19 in Service Sector, Strategies to Overcome the Challenges. A day began with prayer is a day with blessing. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering all of us today in this virtual event. May you bestow your guidance and blessings on this national webinar so that we can enjoy and appreciate its significance in our career and lives. In your holy name we pray. Amen. I invite Dr. Beulah Suresh, Head Department of Business Administration, to welcome the virtual gathering and introduce the resource person for the day.
Thank you, Preeti. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Quoting this, I wish you all a happy morning. On behalf of Auxilium College Vellore and Jairaj Anapakyam College, I welcome you all for the second day of this national webinar on impact of COVID-19 in service sector, strategies to overcome the challenges. A small introduction about me and my college. I am Dr. Beulah Suresh, Head Department of Business Administration, Auxilium College. Actually, I am a past pupil of Jairaj Anapakyam College, Periykulam. I completed my graduation in the year 92. Actually, I studied from 89 to 92. I'm very happy to work along with my alma mater. With my own department, I feel very happy. I thank Mrs. Dr. Suganti for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you to the management. This is a wonderful time where I spent there. So I really enjoyed my college studies there. So as I did at that time, Dr. Jesili was my HOD, Dr. Suganti, Inita, Mrs. Inita. I remember all these people they were motivating me. So this foundation today, what I stand is all because the credit goes to Jairaj Anapakyam College and all. I take this opportunity to express my gratitude to my alma mater, to my faculty members, and to my department. I always will be ready to help and work with my department. So I'm very happy. And to tell about Auxilium College. So Jairaj Anapakyam College is my mother's house. I married and I settled in Vellore, and I have gone to Sisters in the hands of Sisters. I'm working along with Sisters. It's a Salesian Sisters congregation. And Auxilium College is well renowned. This was the first women's college in Natharka district. It was started in the year 1954. And it's known for its quality. For the past 3 years, for the past 3 accreditation, we have obtained A+, and we are sustaining towards the quality sustainment. So what I want to tell is, I work in Department of Business Administration. I have completed my 18 years of service here, and most of the faculty members in my department are my own students. Even Dr. Preeti Prabhakaran is also my own student who is doing PhD under me. I'm very happy to work along with them. So we have a BBA, MBA, MPhil, as well as PhD in our department. And also we have a special course called BPA Hospital Administration, where we have a tie-up with Christian Medical College and Hospital. So this course is run by both the institutions, and it's a very peculiar course in Tamil Nadu. So this is a small introduction about Auxilium and the sisters. I really enjoy working with sisters. They have molded me. So all credit goes to them. So, and this, I take privilege in welcoming the participants also for the last 2 days. I happy to welcome all the participants. I take privilege in welcoming Dr. Soumya Narayanan, Professor and Head Center for Life Skills and Lifelong Learning, New Horizon College of Engineering, Bangalore, Karnataka, who's here to share ideas on COVID-19, a disruption on a practical opportunity or on education sector. Soumya Narayanan, as an academician and a learning consultant, she has been involved in bringing innovation in the learning and development activities of the academic institutions and the corporate spanning over a period of 15 years. She has a PhD from VIT University Vellore in the topic application of Bloom's taxonomy with respect to teaching of certain engineering courses. A graduate in physics and a postgraduate in public administration. She has passed the state level and also she has cleared the state level eligibility for lecturership. She has also a PGDBA degree from Symbiosis. Her certifications include Master Trainer from Wipro Technologies for their mission, 10X program, Dale Carnegie Certificate for High Impact Teaching Skills, Cambridge International Certificate for Teachers and Trainers, British Council Certified IELTS Trainer. Areas of interest and specialization include communication skills, critical and creative thinking, Bloom's taxonomy on educational objectives, high impact teaching skills, more that is HITS motivation, team building, and classroom management. So she's a very good trainer where her training includes, she has done 10-day soft skill development training for students at Vaniyambadi organized by Pathfinder Solutions Private Limited, Chennai. Topics included leadership, motivation, time, stress, goal setting, decision making, and mind mapping skills. She has also conducted training program as the supervisory of Tuber Engineering Energy Limited and ABI Showtech on communication skills, email, and telephone etiquette. As a resource person, she has trained the staff of Coastal India Private Limited on motivation and team building skills. She has trained 200 staff in that training program. She's an expert in team building and she has also rendered a service to the nearby colleges like Kingston Engineering College, MMES College, Arts and Science, then Government Mutharangam College. And she has also served Rajlakshmi Engineering College, Mahalakshmi College of Engineering, GKM College of Engineering. She's a very good trainer. As a resource person and keynote speaker, delivered lectures on many programs like FTP organized by APA Institute of Engineering and Technology, Gulbarga during January 2014. Then she also she chaired the session in International Management Conference held at Narayana Gurukula College of Engineering, Polancheri. In 2015, as a freelance trainer, learning consultant, delivered lectures on effective teaching practices, a 3-day program for the faculty of New Horizon College of Engineering, Marthahali, Bangalore. A total of 5 workshops was organized, leading to a 15-day intervention covering the entire engineering faculty of the college. Then from 2017, she has been spearheading the Center for Life Skills and Lifelong Learning at New Horizon College of Engineering. The center offers courses on communication skills and life skills, thus enabling the students to master the 21st century skills needed to succeed in life and in work. She has given invited talk as part of the Education Summit conducted by Confederation of Indian Industries on interdisciplinary dynamics, delivered many lectures on the dynamics of thinking skills as part of the global IT community. She is a member of TILT, the Indian Leadership Think Tank, which enables potential leaders for the country's progress. She also has some overseas assignments that she has served as the faculty trainer for a 3-day pedagogical training conducted by Caledonian University and Academic Staff College at Muscat, Oman. She has also successfully completed the training for students from Africa on entrepreneurship skills. Then she has visited Cologne University, Germany to present a paper on education structure in India at the International Conference on Vocational Training Education. She has delivered lectures for students who visited Academic Staff College from Sukmyung University, Korea. So all this is regarding a professional experience. I would like to introduce Soumya as a good friend of mine. So we were working together in Vellore for many colleges and we are very good friends for past 15 years. I'm happy that as soon as I invited Soumya for this program, she also agreed in a very spontaneously, she gave a consent. I thank you, Soumya, for this consent and sparing your time with us. With this, I welcome you, all the participants for this program. Wishing you a fruitful day. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you. Thank you, Preeti. Preeti? Preeti? Hello? Preeti? Soumya? Preeti? Hello? Hello? Okay, okay.
Can I get started, Beulah?
Okay.
Beulah, can I start?
Okay. Beulah,
All right. A very good morning to all the viewers here today.
okay.
At the outset, I would like to thank the two major institutions who are coordinating this national workshop. Am I audible?
Yes, Soumya.
Okay. So I'd like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Jayaraj Annabhagyam College at Teni Perikulam and Auxilium College, Vellore, for having invited me to be a speaker at this national seminar, the impact of COVID-19 in the service sector and the various strategies to overcome challenges. So I really have to thank the principal, the secretary of both institutions who have taken immense efforts in organizing this wonderful national workshop, because in terms of COVID-19, when we're talking about a complete lockdown, education is still sustained. Education is continuously happening, and this is really wonderful. So kudos to the efforts of both the institutions. And a special thanks to a great friend of mine, and the two of us, we've always wanted to do a lot of things in terms of service for the education sector. And thank you, Dr. Beulah Bharati, who heads the Business Administration Department, and Preeti for coordinating this entire event. Thank you so much, both the colleges, for once again inviting me to this national seminar. Yesterday, we had Dr. Frida, who spoke about the impact of COVID-19 with respect to the service sector regarding the food, the logistics, supply chain, and transport. Today, I thought I would dwell a little more on what exactly is the impact of COVID-19 with respect to the education sector. So I would like to begin my presentation, and thank you, Beulah, for giving such an extensive introduction about myself. The only thing that I would like to speak about myself is always wanted to bring a change, bring a difference in the lives of people, especially the younger generation. So my topic today reads, COVID-19, is it a disruption or is it a potential opportunity for the education sector? One of the important quotations that I thought I should use to begin my presentation is one of my favorite quotations as well, is the illiterates of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but who cannot learn, unlearn, or relearn. I repeat, the illiterates of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but who cannot learn, unlearn, or relearn, says Alvin Toffler. Alvin Toffler is a futurist who has written this famous book called Future Shock, and it completes 20 years since it was printed. In the book Future Shock, he talks about multiple changes which the human beings have to adapt themselves to in terms of newer lifestyles, newer businesses, and newer relationships. But I'm sure the same Alvin Toffler could not have envisaged such a cataclysmic change that could occur because of this pandemic, could not even have imagined such a kind of metamorphosis that would have happened because of this particular virus. The world has always moved forward from the push in the ever progressing education. Education is the one which has been propelling the service sector immensely. In fact, the government of India has given a lot of impetus to help education sector be a major contributor to the service sector, which in turn actually contributes 2/3 to the gross domestic product in the country today. But unfortunately, what we are seeing today is the disruption in the education. And this disruption in the education, this break in the dynamism is only because of COVID-19. So when I talk about disruption, what are the major two disruptions that I'm mentioning here is a potential closing of almost all the schools universally, and number two, an economic recession which has happened because of the pandemic control. Well, the one actually has resulted in a lot of loss of learning. The second one has resulted in terms of a demand supply deficiency, and this has caused a lot of damages to the educational system. The three important factors that really come into being here is A, coping, B, continuity, and resilience. So what do I mean by resilience? I mean by getting back. Here, we are not talking about getting back into what we already had, but we're talking about getting back into a newer normal, into a newer system that is going to be the order of the day. So hence I chose the topic, whether we're going to look at COVID-19 as a real disruption, or are we going to look at COVID-19 as a potential opportunity for the education sector? So the first part of my speech, I would really like to actually highlight about what kind of an impact, what kind of a disruption are we talking about in the education system because of COVID-19. The first one is the policy disruption. We're talking about all the top management, the top brass, which has to make a lot of decisions in terms of its academic policies. The second one is the structural impact that we're talking about in terms of what kind of a distance learning platform that we are looking at. Number three, we're talking about social solutions. Here we're talking about the requirements, the needs of all the stakeholders, the students, the parents, the education leaders, and most importantly, how are we going to protect the physical well-being of the students as well. And the last one, of course, we're talking about online platform. We're talking about distance learning. What kind of a financial support do we have in terms of providing this needed infrastructure for the distance learning education? Look at the measured impact of COVID-19 across the education ecosystem. You'll be surprised. This is a UNESCO reference that I have taken from. 1.58 billion student population are experiencing the education disruption. This accounts for at least about 91% of the world's student population that is affected. 63 million educators are impacted. We have 188 countrywide school closures, with 1/3 of the countries across the world which has got practically no access to the internet, and 70% have the limited capability for running the distance education. So let's look at this impact from three different stakeholder perspectives as well. A, the education leadership, B, the education providers and suppliers, C, mainly the beneficiaries, the students, the teachers and parents. So let's look at the educational leadership. The governments and ministries of education are really finding a lot of dropout in terms of the workforce, and there are a lot of problems in terms of reorienting the national assessment and the curriculum. Coming to the education providers, here comes the public-private institutions. There's a tremendous loss in terms of revenue that they are facing. And coming to the suppliers, all these learning management systems or these ed providers, they're wondering what kind of standardization do we adopt in terms of providing quality education. So let's look at the impact at the beneficiary level, from the student side, from the teacher side, and the parent side. So what are we discussing here when it comes to the parents and teachers? We're talking about complete loss of income. And the parents are not able to support their children because they are not technologically savvy, but the teachers themselves are completely suspect of the quality of education that they're going to give to their students. And students themselves, there is this big problem, a big threat about a loss of a year. And they're really not sure about the disruption of the academic schedules. And there is so much of anticipation, so much of eagerness about how their future is going to actually lie. So having discussed about the impact of COVID-19 in the educational sector, this is the kind of disruption I've spoken to you in terms of the measured impact as well. I would like to quote Napoleon Hill, very beautifully says, Every adversity contains at the same time a seed of an equivalent opportunity. There's no point in cribbing about the disruption, but what we need to do is, right at the beginning I told you, we need to talk about the continuity in the education. What are we going to do to remain the world players when it comes to education? So here I have listed about 6 different opportunities, potential opportunities that one can look at in converting this disruption or this crisis into something very beneficial for all of us. The first thing, educators turning into curators of content. Albert Einstein very beautifully says, I do not teach my pupils, I only provide conditions in which they learn. I repeat, I do not teach my pupils, I only provide conditions in which they learn. So this is something that we are talking about in terms of the changing landscape in education and about the changing profile of an educator. Today, a teacher cannot be a dispenser of knowledge occupying the center stage. He or she should be actually a guide by the side. She cannot be a sage on the stage. She needs to be a guide by the side. In fact, Professor M.S. Anand, the ex-director of IIT Madras, in a fantastic program, had mentioned India is moving from what is called as a Gurukulam to a Sishyakulam. So we're talking about the learners first, the learners always, and the focus of education has moved from this paradigm shift from teaching to learning, and the focus and the highlight and the fulcrum will always be on the learners. So when we are mentioning about this paradigm shift, what I'm trying to tell you here is educators should just not provide the content, they need to be the curators of content, in the sense they need to give the content in such a way, package it so beautifully that it becomes digestible for the students, and then only it will be attractive for the online learners. Number 2, we're talking about student learning, and the buzzword of today in the education scenario is blended learning. Now again, what is blended learning? Blended learning is a combination of face-to-face interaction and online education. So what the teachers need to do is upload all their teaching materials, upload all their references, their visuals, everything, so that the student gets completely conversant about what he needs to prepare. And the classroom has to be used as a place or a platform only for reinforcement. What the students need to do is participate in quiz, do all the practical learning in the class. So this kind of blended learning, which was only done theoretically, today we are forced to impart this, and this is going to become the future of the world. Third one is curriculum flexibility, the choice beyond convenient and conventional lessons. I'm sorry. So here again, the teachers have to change their pedagogy. They should be given flexibility on teaching a lesson. Either they could move from the theory to the practical, or they could go from the practical to the theory. They can even adopt the Bloom's taxonomy of educational objectives, which goes from knowledge to creation. Either they can produce the creative knowledge first, and then go down explaining the theory, or ask the students to construct knowledge for themselves. I think the entire flexibility needs to be given both to the students and the teachers as well. The next thing the online education is going to provide in terms of a potential opportunity is, this is definitely going to give the accessibility and affordability to quality education to every student in every nook and corner of the country, because that is the way the ed platforms are gearing themselves up to for this change. The fourth one, the most important one, we're talking about collaboration. It's not competition. Today, all the institutions across the world has to come forward to collaborate, to give the best content to the learner. And not only that, they need to share the best practices in terms of how they have overcome this pandemic and have given the best form of education to the students. So for instance, we should have the Harvards and the Oxfords coming over to the country, and students being able to access the information of the Harvards and Oxfords. And why not? I'm envisaging a situation where we have the Indian experts, we have the Indian lecturers who are probably able to upload their material. We should have the students of Harvard and Oxford actually looking at the information of the expert lectures from our Indian teachers as well. That's what the world is moving towards too. And the last one, which is very critical, is students are facing a lot of challenges with respect to their mental health. So here we're talking about social and emotional skills through peer collaboration. There's a right time for students to interact with one another, understand where the deficiencies is. Each should act like a counselor for the other. And through this peer collaboration, they also learn the important concept of living together, promoting not only themselves, but promoting their friends as well. So in a nutshell, these are the 6 important areas that needs to be focused, or these are the areas of potential opportunity which COVID-19 has actually given us, which is definitely a way forward. Let's look at this entire scenario from a different perspective. There's a lot of complaint from the industries and the employment agencies that the skills is something that the students are lacking in, and especially the candidates hired from our country. And just like to support this particular statement with some recent reports that have come out from Dell and the World Economic Forum, you'll be surprised to note that 85% of the jobs are still not invented. And most importantly, you'll find that 65% of the student workforce today will actually be working on jobs which are not yet in existence today. So if I don't even know what is going to be the job that's actually there for my students, how am I going to train them? What kind of skill sets I'm going to equip them? What if they become obsolete? What if they become redundant? How is that they're not able to actually make use of these essential skills or all the skills that they've learned in trying to get a basic employment? So this is a major question that all of us have to ask for ourselves. So here, I would like to reiterate once again the importance of teaching life skills during this pandemic. Treat this opportunity, this is my request to all the teachers, all the training community, fraternity, that life skills is something that's really going to help the students to develop themselves during this pandemic. The disruption can be converted into a potential opportunity. Let's quickly go through each of these life skills, which is essential for the student to succeed both in his work and in his career. The first one, resilience. What do we understand by the word resilience? It is bouncing back. He has to bounce back. Success is not, Will Durant beautifully says, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. We need to teach the students that failure is just a stepping stone to success. They have to view failure as a temporary setback and they need to bounce back. Number two, flexibility and adaptability. This is something our students have to be trained for. They should know how to adapt to the newer changes. They should know how to adapt to learning platforms. They should be quick in the uptake in the way curriculum flexibility has actually come into force. Most important skill that we need to teach our students is the emotional intelligence. It's about not only understanding their own emotions, they need to learn to manage the emotions of others, they need to work in teams, they need to collaboratively motivate themselves and be successful leaders as well. Fourth important skill is continuous learning. Learning cannot stop, come what may. Whatever be the issue that we have, we need to definitely and steadfastly support continuous learning. We need to unlearn, we need to relearn, but the learning has to move on. The next important skill that we need to train our students is not to depend on anything external, to depend on their innate ability to produce something new, to produce something novel, and that can only happen through the entrepreneurial skills. Right from the leadership in the government today, we are all promoting our students, trying to help them to develop their entrepreneurial skills. The last one is I'm talking about two important thinking skills that we need to focus on as far as the younger generation is concerned. A, the critical thinking. B, the creativity. It's just not the knowledge of the subject that's important. It is extremely critical for the students to promote their critical thinking, which is actually decision making, by choosing the right decision or making the right decision by choosing the best alternative, or the creative skills, which is equally important, thinking out of the box and trying to produce novel ideas, breaking the shackles, thinking beyond, thinking out of the box to get that solution that we are actually looking at. So resilience, flexibility, emotional intelligence, continuous learning, entrepreneurial skills, creativity, and critical thinking. These are something which is very critical during this pandemic. In order to support the statement of mine, here is a beautiful statistics which has been taken and which clearly goes to show that 60% of the student workforce today have told that this entire online education and this lockdown period, the way teaching has been done, has definitely promoted their soft skills. So it is such a great statistics, because it definitely augurs well for the future of the teaching learning process in the country today. We're talking about 85% of the students who have said that their critical ability and problem solving has increased, and 84% students believe that they can get into what is known as attention to detail and manage their time very effectively. As far as oral communication and writing skills, it definitely has improved. It's beyond 60%. And teamwork, yes, all the collaborative projects and the project-based learning has definitely happened. And thanks to this kind of a disruption where students have come together to find out solutions for themselves, how they're going to tackle this pandemic. Let's move over to the Indian scenario. Today we're talking about a disruption in every family. You'll be surprised to note that every parent today has become a teacher, and every house has become a school. And we're talking about 250 million school students in India who are having this impact of this education disruption because of COVID-19. So let's listen to one of the generation. All right, so here we are talking about a transformed child. Today, look at this. Today we're talking about this transformed child who's who's completely ready to take the mantle of tomorrow. So this is a particular child who belongs to what is called as the alpha generation. And she knows that there's a lot of problems. She's not able to go to school. She's not able to mingle with her friends. She's not able to have good time. She's not able to socialize, but she has viewed this adversity with a lot of creativity, a lot of compassion, and definitely has taken up a pragmatic outlook. Let's see what she has to say.
Hi, after COVID-19, things have become really tough. I have online classes because there's a lockdown. I love the online classes because it's activity based. We learn how to use the computer more better. When we have a break, we can relax, we can eat whatever we want, we can watch some TV. And if we have any doubt, we can ask ma'am. I miss my friends, but not so much. I can see them in my online classes. And you know, whenever I'm so tired, I switch off the camera that nobody can see me. And the best thing about is that I don't have to wake up early. I love the online classes. It's so much fun. Bye.
So this is what the current generation students are thinking about. A small child who has viewed this entire online education, and thanks to the government who's taking a lot of initiatives in bringing in a reformation in the teaching learning process. And that was the one beneficiary that I was talking about, namely the student. But the actual people who are the unsung heroes in this entire process, they need to be admired. And here's a small video clipping about all the teachers who have struggled, who have done wonders in not stopping this particular education during this entire pandemic.
Hello everyone. I would like to share my experience of conducting online classes. This was something that was new to me given my age. I was someone who would even hesitate to attend a webinar, but I'm happy to say one of the positive effects of this COVID-19 is it taught me how to conduct a webinar. I'm really happy with the effect. I was able to reach out to students from any corner of the country. So this, I think, is one of the positive effects of COVID-19. Of course, there are negative effects, but then I would like to concentrate more on this positive effect. I'm really, really happy about the technology that I have learned, and I would like to go forward with this. Thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Professor Ramesh. I would like to talk about the new change in the field of learning and teaching. We all know we have been learning things from 9 to 5, but today I, as a teacher, is able to teach my students 24/7. To be honest, I can share better examples connect with them even more efficiently, irrespective looking at a time or a timetable. I am free to express myself. I'm free to connect to my students. Vice versa, the students are also doing the same. They've accepted that the future is all about being online. It's like an on-job training for them. If they start working tomorrow, they would spend most of the time on an online meeting or a conference call. So they are actually getting a lots of experience, but they are also evolving and learning new things, how things can be easy for them. Thank you.
Hello everyone. This is Devranjan Chatterjee. I'm a life skills trainer with New Horizon College of Engineering, Bangalore. When the lockdown was announced, we were originally at our wits' end because our modules primarily demand that we take classes with a live audience, with a live classroom. So this was a new learning for us, how to conduct classes online. They say that necessity is the mother of all invention. You've heard it, right? And that's exactly what happened with us as well. Not only did we manage to take online classes, I'm happy to report that we completed all the portions with all the quality attention that they deserve through online portals, online platforms, completed it on time, and we did well. A bit of learning not only for the students but also for us, the teachers, the trainers happened. I am not only a teacher, I am also a parent. My two sons are school-going kids. Slowly we saw that online classes started for them as well. So it's a new world. That's the sign of the new normal, as they say. All good so far. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I am Gangadhar Murthy, life skills trainer from New Horizon College of Engineering, Bangalore. We had been philosophically talking that life is full of uncertainties. But when uncertainty struck us in the form of COVID-19, all our lives went topsy-turvy. Especially, it was a bolt from the blue for crores of students and lakhs of teachers when schools and colleges remained shut and we stayed at total disruption of the education system. That's when the entire teaching fraternity latched on to technology, accepted the challenge and adopted the change and switched into live and lively online classes. Online classes have helped teachers and students to stay connected despite staying apart. Dissemination of knowledge has continued uninterrupted despite the pandemonium caused by the disruption. Though our physical movements are restricted, our spirit to learn, our spirit to engage the students has not diminished, right? Online teaching has kept students engaged, enthused, and continuity of learning has been ensured. Though there were initial hiccups, today we are in line with online, and this is going to be a game changer in the field of education. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Richard Nathaniel. I'm working as a life skills trainer at New Horizon College, Bangalore. Online teaching, some may struggle as we move from our traditional lecture to online teaching. Personally, for me, this unfortunate circumstance offers a chance to work with students online, and they have the chance to train online as well. Online teaching helps my students develop different skills that will be extremely useful to them in their career as more and more work gets done virtually. I'm comfortable with the idea of interacting virtually and using online tools, and this is certainly going to be helpful in a long run as well. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Captain Prabhu James, retired from New Horizon College of Engineering. My experience during lockdown in administering online sessions were that it was a great change for us. We had to learn how to set up Google Forms for attendance and use the applications on Zoom and WebEx. There were initial hiccups on how to schedule, send the link, and how to keep intruders at bay. It has stabilized now and it's ongoing. We all can set up, and I can set up the quizzes online, Google Forms, and how to use applications better. And that's it. We are learning, and students are also coping up. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And for the audience present out here, I really have to explain to you why I chose all the life skills trainers to deliver this particular video to speak about their challenges and what they did in terms of innovation when it came to the teaching learning process, with the only reason being all these life skills trainers go to almost all the discipline students. They address the needs of the civil engineering students, they go to the mechanical engineering students, they address the undergrad students, and so much so they address the needs of the postgraduate MBA students. So these are the skilled trainers who have to listen and understand the challenges of the students and actually instill the so-called life skills that is going to help the students sustain, and it's also going to help the students to develop their potentiality within them and make them employable. So when we are talking about the paradigm shift from teaching to learning, when we look at the entire process of education, at the three levels, we're talking about how this pandemic has brought in changes and how we can look at it from the curriculum side, from the instruction side, and from the evaluation side. So the creation of the learning content has to be done through research, through writing and packaging with visuals. So a lot of R&D work has gone into the curriculum where multiple experts have come forth, and this has led to immense collaboration among experts in the same field who have been able to brainstorm all the ideas to make this entire instruction give it in a very simple form. And coming to the instruction itself, students of this generation would love to receive the material through multiple modes, whether it is classes, lectures, notes, discussions, and we use multiple methods. We conduct peer evaluation, we have video sessions, we have self-study, and there are multiple ways, even including the book review. These are the methods by which the student process information, and the most important aspect of their education is the assessment and the evaluation, which definitely has taken a different change, different route altogether. Today the assessments have become online. Students have to ensure that they maintain integrity in answering the questions. They're able to prepare themselves better and are able to manage their time in answering the questions. And this definitely is going to be a cup of tea for them because they are the digital natives while we are the digital immigrants. The new normal, ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you that these are the buzzwords that are spreading rapidly in the current educational scenario. We're talking about the Google Class, the Microsoft Teams and Cisco WebEx and Zoom, which are the online platforms where you can actually meet up with your students. The Google Class is a very interesting app where you can actually monitor the way the students study, monitor the way they send in their assessments and actually evaluate them. The learning management system, which is in vogue in almost all the colleges today, is definitely the Moodle. And from the government side, we have the various MOOC, Massive Open Online Courses, which has been popularized thanks to Government of India for those initiatives. And yes, we have the technology-enabled learning through the national program, which is the SWAYAM. Today, we find huge registrations among the teachers who have taken up, have not only enhanced the knowledge of the students, they have taken up self-development through the SWAYAM NPTEL as well. So looking at the initiative from the government, it's something which Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal, the Union HRD Minister, recently spoke in his beautiful speech where he says we have to look at this entire crisis as an opportunity. This particular channel called the Swayam Prabha has become a sensational initiative from the Government of India. It's a TV channel for students to take online courses. About 15 million students are enrolled. There are about 32 channels and all the learning has happened in a very simplified manner, and it's a direct-to-home telecast. And this is how there is a revolution in the form of education. Digital education is definitely going to the remotest of places. But what I see as the biggest opportunity is the classic initiative which has come from the government side again, especially through the massive open online courses. Today, they want skilled professionals, they want teachers, they want artisans, they want craftsmen. I'm talking with respect to education, who can actually convert the technical content into regional languages. So if I'm able to actually provide this kind of education to the learners the way they want to learn in the language that they understand the best, don't you think we have progressed a lot in spite of the disruption in the so-called pandemic? Coming to the Generation Z, which is actually the beneficiary, the biggest beneficiary of education, there are two important characteristics which always define this generation. A, what is called as the concept of FOMO, and B, the fear of missing out and the fear of being alone. As a reason which They themselves get into social media very frequently using WhatsApp, Snapchat, and they are the ones who look for instant gratification and feedback. So we as digital immigrants into their world, we need to ensure that we use all the social learning platforms to encourage this kind of education, to give them the education that they want in the way that they perceive and they wish to learn. And the second important characteristic of the beneficiary, the Generation Z, is today they are the ones who want to work collaboratively to solve problems. They want to come together to address mental health issues, and not only that, the major important problem of the climate change as well. And I thought I should not leave the students behind in trying to understand what they are going through, what are some of the challenges, and how they see this entire online education as a way forward in terms of self-development.
Hi, I'm Gomati Venkatesan, pursuing MBA in New Horizon College of Engineering, Bangalore. This lockdown has forced us to stay home for the entire day, unlike our regular day-to-day routine where we used to go to college and learn. Indeed, it's not easy, but still, when we look at the positive side of it on learning, it is enormous. Earlier, learning was 24/7, but now, teaching is also 24/7. While attending these online classes, it gives us more exposure to do multitasking, which will help us develop as a better person and a better personality.
Hello everyone, hi, I'm Mohammad Jubail Ahmad Sharif, currently pursuing a first year MBA from the New Horizon College of Engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, let me highlight a few positive impacts of COVID-19 from a student's point of view. To begin with, let me say that as students, we spend a lot of time and energy in traveling. But this time, with the help of online classes, we have been saving that time and energy, which we've reinvested into learning, which has in fact made us better learners and efficient learners.
Hello everyone, my name is Anjali and today I'm going to talk about lockdown. So according to me, lockdown is not something that we lock ourselves in the room and spend our time within four walls, but it is more than that. According to me, this lockdown has helped me to understand my potential, explore my areas of interest. This lockdown has changed the concept of traditional classroom learning to online sessions. It has helped me to connect with various industry experts and various multiple alumni who are working in different companies across different countries through webinars that was organized by our institution.
Hello everyone, I'm Anupama from MBA department second semester, but I would like to talk about the positives. Number one, we have become more punctual because we have digitalized everything. We have shifted to digital classroom. Everything that we do has a deadline, right? From marking our attendance to submitting our assignments. So it is making us even more responsible. Also, I have 24 hours of internet access in a day, which means if I invest the right amount of time in the things that I want to learn, I can create wonders.
I'm Vandana, pursuing MBA at New Horizon College of Engineering. There are many positive sides to talk about lockdown, particularly on education. One thing I would like to mention is that the use of technology. The use of technology is drastically increased. All our lectures are all available in all the technological platforms. Lockdown has actually helped to bring the technology nearer to us. Secondly, we have more time. We have more time that we can prioritize the subjects, give them more time depending upon their difficulty level, and improve our skill set.
So let's look at, hello.
Yes,
Hello.
Yes, Soumya, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'll just take about 4 minutes to conclude. Beulah, is that okay?
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. So I would like to share here, actually look at the potential in terms of the initiatives taken by the government. The government is having huge spending when it comes to infrastructure and promoting online learning. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we need to understand that online learning has become the new normal. In February 2020, the Unacademy has raised about $110 million US Series E round from Facebook and General Atlantic. In July 2019, the Qatar Sovereign Fund led an investment of about $150 million by Byju's. Indian education sector has witnessed 18 merger and acquisition deals with $49 million in 2017. Of all the startups in India, 3,500 are catering to the education space. These startups received close to $700 million funding in 2018. The Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India, is also planning to raise about 1 lakh crore from private companies and high net worth individuals to finance the improvement of education infrastructure in the country. India has signed a loan agreement with the World Bank under the Skills Acquisition and Knowledge Awareness for Livelihood Promotion called the Sankalp Project to enhance institutional mechanisms for skills development. So the way forward, I think this is where I'm really going to conclude. We have seen the entire pandemic, we have viewed it as a disruption. Yes, it has disrupted the way we live, the way we shop, and the way we actually process things. But are we going to be stifled? Are we going to just sit back and observe this entire disruption quietly? What are we going to do to help the younger generation, the torchbearers of the nation? What are we going to help in terms of developing the skills? How are we going to introduce artificial intelligence, robotics courses? How are we going to move forward? So I thought I would like to put in these 4 important recommendations in terms of the way forward. Number 1, priority on regaining of mental health post-traumatic stress that the students are facing because of this pandemic. There are multiple lives that are lost, a lot of violence that the children are subjected to, and many of these habits that they have forgotten. Probably they don't know how to greet their teachers, they don't and they don't know how to recognize the talents of others, they don't know, they've forgotten the art of appreciation, they forgot pleasantries. But these are certain things that we need to actually educate our children sitting from home as well. So online education is definitely the way forward, and the counseling role plays a very important role, and the opportunities for counselors will definitely boom in this period. It is the counselors who need to actually counsel the students and tell them that look for the positivity amongst the negativity. And the next important thing is we need to show gratitude to our teachers. The teachers have definitely been the unsung heroes, and this gratitude can be shown in terms of what one can do for appreciation of the teaching fraternity. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you that although there is a lot of disruption at the leadership level, there is disruption for the education suppliers, there is a disruption for the public-private partnership and the ones who are running the institution, there's a disruption for the teachers, there's disruption for the students, there's disruption for the parents, but we all need to come in together into this. We need to work as a team. We need to show to the world that India can emerge as potential leaders in terms of the education sector. Today, when we talk about the demographic dividend, we are the ones which has the youngest population, and I'm sure we can rock the world. And let's not get affected by the pandemic. Let's again look at this crisis as an opportunity to survive. Let's build in ourselves resilience, let's build positivity, and thank you once again for being patient listeners to this speech of mine. And over to the organizers. I thank the organizers once again for giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact with the audience today. Special thanks to the audience too, who have taken a lot of time and joined in the seminar of mine. And any questions that you have, you may post so.
Hello.
Preeti, you can start now.
Yes, Preeti, go ahead.
Ma'am, there's a question from one of the participants in the chat section.
Yes.
They want to know what about the remote areas because they don't know technology and how to use online classes. What would be your suggestion for them?
Okay, as I was telling you, in terms of the government initiatives, we have the Swayam Prabha. I'm sure there is not a single household, even if you go to a village today, they have a television. And this Swayam Prabha portal is exactly through the DTH, through the satellite mode. And not only that, the day will come when almost all the teaching is going to happen in the regional languages. So irrespective of the language, irrespective of the remote access, irrespective of the place that they are in, simple gadgets will have to be used where they can access online education. It's already happening, and there are a number of CSR initiatives taken by TCS and other major IT giants who have gone and who are actually changing the world of telecommunication and bringing in access to the students at the remotest corner of the country. So it's all available through the direct to home. And as I was telling you, more and more innovations in telecommunication, better would be the access. And it is the time for the entrepreneurs to put their step forward and to push themselves to bring in all forms of online mode of teaching. I'm sorry, there are too many questions that are coming in the right side, and I'm sure the organizers will be somewhere in a position to share the email ID, and they could later even send their questions to my email ID, or they can log into the New Horizon College website, look for the Center for Life Skills and Lifelong Learning, get my ID, and shoot in their questions as well.
Priti, is there any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you can explain about the links for feedback and.
Yes. On the chat section, the feedback link has been posted. Kindly log into your email ID and click on the feedback link and complete the feedback form, post which you will be receiving your certificates within a day or two.
Only 15 minutes will be given.
Yes, the link will be open for the next 15 minutes, post which access will be denied. So though participants who are present here today can log in and complete it within the next 15 minutes.
Preeti, you can give vote of thanks.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. It is noble to teach oneself, but still nobler to teach others. Soumya ma'am, as always, your session was as vibrant as you. The way you have always been when I first met you. You have thrown limelight on the 6 potential opportunities and the future skills required for the student folk. Thank you for joining and being with us today. The root of all goodness lies in the soil of appreciation. I extend my gratitude to the principals and secretary and the management of Auxilium and Jayaraj Anapakyam College for their encouragement and support, without whom this virtual webinar wouldn't have been a successful one. I thank Dr. Frida and Dr. Soumya Narayanan, the resource persons for both the days, for accepting our invitation and joining us. I thank the coordinators, Dr. J. Mary Sugantibai and Dr. Beulah Suresh, for their meticulous effort in planning this event and making it a successful one. I extend my gratitude to Mrs. M. Akina Praveen, who joined along with me, Preeti Prabhakaran, in organizing the 2-day national webinar. Thank you, participants, for your virtual presence. I request again all the participants to kindly submit your feedback using the link provided in the chat section. The link will be active for only 15 minutes. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you very much.
Soumya, thank you very much.
Thank you, Beulah. That was a wonderful session and very well organized as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I should thank the principal and management of Jayaraj Anapakyam College. And the entire session was beautifully coordinated and meticulously implemented as well.
Mrs. Suganti, do you have any words? Ma'am, Suganti ma'am? Hello?
Hello? Hello?
I think they have muted themselves.
Okay, okay, Soumya. So you can, if you want, you can leave, because all people will be they will be posting their feedback and attendance. You can also do that, no problem.
Okay.
If If you want, you can leave the meeting.
Thank you so much, Beulah, and thanks to the management of Annabhagyam College for giving me this opportunity. Look forward to sharing more knowledge in more such webinars. Thank you once again.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Which point in webinar inspired you the most? काय आंसर देते हैं? The video sections conference का refer चकोड़ा दे.
Conference by the parents was
Give video conference देते हैं.
அந்த பொண்ணு
Gave ना. दी मुझे का.